First, I want to thank everybody that has subscribed, liked, commented. I appreciate everything that you've said. No matter what you've said, I appreciate the likes. Please share this with your friends. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit that share button. We're trying to make sure that everybody know that they're not victims, that they're empowered for greatness, that we can make a difference again in this nation. That we can stand up for biblical values, we can stand up for truth and push back against all the lies and everything that's false that's taking place in this land. So I appreciate that. And please, thank you for looking at my videos and participating and making our voice known. So this past weekend, I had a chance to go to Atlanta for a volleyball tournament that my daughter was in. And so while I was there, I've been to Atlanta plenty of times. I've seen all the major sites, Dr. King's birthplace, Morehouse Spelman, the Olympic, Centennial Park, all the sites, all the historical sites in Atlanta. But there was something new that had just popped up since the last time I was there. The Trap Museum. And for those of you who are not Black and not from the South, you may not know what trap means. It essentially is talking about the trap house, the drug house. It is glorifying the criminality and debauchery and the worst of us as Black people. We've built a shrine, we've built a museum that amplifies and highlights and glorifies music that represents the worst of us as people. Now, I'm speaking as someone who grew up listening to hip hop and rap, but I never really got into the trap music. Once I became saved and truly a believer in Christ, I stopped listening to all secular music, no matter what it is. But I know about trap music. I know about the artists. I know about T.I. I know about all the Atlanta hip hop artists, all the trap artists, all those folks down there. And that music does nothing to elevate us as people. That music is being used to perpetuate stereotypes that white elitists want us to walk in. That white people who do not interact with us, who do not see Black people as their equal intellectually, that is the image that they have of Black people. The fathers, that the men father multiple children by multiple women, that they don't marry them, that they sell drugs, they smoke, they spend all their money on materialistic things, on gold chains, on grills, on fancy cars. They even have, in this museum, they even have a jail cell in there. They have a jail cell. Not like a jail cell that's in the African American Museum where people like Dr. King actually went to jail fighting for our civil rights. No, they got a jail cell because a jail cell is synonymous with trapping. A jail cell is synonymous with rap music. The fact that we're glorifying these things really is disturbing to me, because I'm all about elevating everyone, but in particular elevating Black men. That's why I say we are not victims, we are empowered for greatness. That message, things like the Trap Museum and trap music, that has harmed our communities. That has been used. You have to understand something. The executives in the record industry, they have utilized things like trap music to keep Black people trapped. Black people are still trapped in poverty and hyper-materialism. They're still trapped in that. The devil has used trap music, has used trapping, has used things like that to trap us into this secular, humanistic, hyper-materialistic mindset. It got us away from biblical mindset. It has driven Christ, driven Jesus, driven God out of the community, and has replaced it with this trap, with this hyper-materialistic, with this secular, with this humanistic, with this do as thy wilt, satanic ideology. And that is why the community does not thrive. And then they play with that and they use that to say, oh, it's white supremacy that's keeping you down. No, it's your mindset and the decisions that you make that are keeping you down. No man can keep you down if you have God on the inside. But if you don't have God on the inside, you leave yourself open and vulnerable to people to take advantage of you. And that's exactly what's happening in our community. And the Trap Museum is the personification of that. It is. And it's shameful that we even have a museum dedicated to stuff like that. It is shameful. As a people, when are we going to wake up? People running around here talking about they're all woke. When are people going to wake up and realize that the only way we can be redeemed is through a relationship with Christ, number one, and through buying in to the institutions and buying into things that he has established. The family, education, true education. Where the parents drive the education, where the parents are responsible. Because if the parents do not drive the education, then there's a difference between education and intelligence. Education is believing what somebody else has told you. Intelligence is thinking for yourself. Education is believing what somebody else has told you and following what they said. Intelligence is thinking for yourself. We need more intelligence and not education. But those things will lead to us thriving as a community. And we had those things before. But we've allowed secularism. We've allowed Marxism and communism and all of these things that are not helpful to us to invade our thought processes, to invade our churches. And I hold black pastors responsible. And I hold black churches responsible because they have been the gatekeepers and they have failed on their jobs. They have not been the watchmen. They've allowed this to seep into our communities, and it has taken root and has become cancerous to the point that now it's driving out all the healthy cells, if you will, in our communities. Every cell in our communities are malignant because we've allowed this tumor to grow and fester. It's time for it to be destroyed. We are not victims. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. And so things like the Trap Museum, a museum that's dedicated to the debauchery, to the hyper-materialistic, to all the negative and evil and harmful things that have destroyed our communities. Drug culture. It glorifies all of that. And yet, we have a museum dedicated to that. Lord help us. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that.